Hey everybody, I hope that you're having a happy Wednesday. I hope that you had a great Christmas with your family and everything. Here, I'm back at home. I'm in Missouri and it feels really good to be home. I get to see people that I love and spend the holidays with them, so it's been amazing. It is freaking cold though. It is freaking cold. I think, let's see here, this morning it was like 8 degrees and with a wind chill it was like -5 or something. It was crazy. And I think tomorrow's going to be even worse. So, yay! I get a little break from Texas weather because last year on Christmas I wore shorts and it was 80 degrees. So it's a little bit different, a little bit of a change. But of course, with the change comes allergies and all the junk that comes with it. So I'm feeling either allergies or I'm coming down with a cold for the 3rd time this year, which is not fun. So, but I'm hoping it's just allergies. But I hope you guys are having a great day. Tonight, I want to talk about the hair transitional period because I think this is really important. I think this is something that needs to be covered. A lot of people usually have questions about this, and especially you new market partners as you're popping on. This is something that you definitely want to be educating your clients about, your customers and your new market partners. You want them to know this process. So when people come with a question, you know, and you really fully understand this process. And not everybody experiences the transitional period, but a lot of people do. And so we want to be prepared to explain to them the process before they start the product so they know what to look out for. The hair transitional period, first of all, it's a really good thing. You want to have this. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but you have to go through this process to get to a really, really good side. It's kind of like, I always relate it to like substance abuse. So you have people that are really, really, they've been hooked on drugs or medications or whatever their whole life. And especially like meth addicts. I know I'm getting like way crazy here, but seriously though, like, they're taking it, it's a need, they're used to taking it for a long period of time, their body gets used to it, but it's not good for them. It's not good for them. And so when they go to rehab, they go through a period like this where their body transitions because they're getting all of that junk out of their system. And yes, sometimes they have side effects that aren't so pretty, but it is important to go through some of these processes to get to a healthier, better state. And so a lot of people think this is a bad thing. It is absolutely not a bad thing at all. Especially when you get to the other side, you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is the best hair I've ever had in my entire life. And I can honestly say that this is the best hair I have ever had in my entire life. And I went through this process when I first started. Mine was a little shorter. I had been using a lot of, salon quality products. So, my transition maybe wasn't as long as some people had. But I did have some of these symptoms and, they weren't fun, but I got through it. And I'm so glad that I went through that so I can share, my experience with other people. But a lot of people go through this. I even, I talk to market partners on a daily basis that go through these symptoms, and I remember talking to them and they're like, what's going on with my hair? Like, I washed once and I loved it, and then I started using it again and I'm just not feeling like I'm seeing the same results that I used to. But then I follow up with them months later and like, oh my gosh, my hair is the best ever. Thank you so much for encouraging me to continue using this. This stuff is amazing. And so that's why I'm on here talking to you guys about what to expect with this, and that there is a bright side at the end. Okay. So what causes this period? What causes the transitional period? Well, a lot of products that we're using, even like salon quality products, really good products, they can have things in there that aren't necessarily the best for your hair and scalp. And with Monat, we're all about hair health and scalp health, especially scalp health. Scalp health is so important because healthy hair starts with a healthy scalp. And if your scalp is not healthy and getting the things that it needs, your hair is not going to be in the best shape. So we treat the scalp a lot with these products. But being said, even if it's a professional, high-end product, it can still be filled with silicones, copolymers, waxes, and things like that aren't necessarily good for the hair. Now, Also, if you're in areas like Dallas, where there's a lot of construction and things like that, a lot of people, like bigger cities, you can have a lot of pollutants in the air that are also going to pack into your hair shaft and into the follicles. If you're in an area with a lot of rich minerals in the soil, you might have some mineral buildup, coming from the water. So these things we need to pull out as well. Medications, if you have a lot of health issues, you're taking a lot of medications, all of this stuff can absolutely stay in your hair shaft for a long time. This is what I compare it to. So, and don't mind my analogy, but if you have a tree, okay, you have a tree, like 100-year-old tree, and someone just decides to chop it down. Like trees, you can trace back the history from the very, very beginning of a tree based on the little lines in the tree. So it shows everything that's happened to that tree is inside of that trunk. And that's kind of like the same thing with hair. Anything, any hormonal changes, medications, any hormonal kind of things can show up in your hair. In fact, it's so funny because some companies and even like law enforcement officials can actually use hair samples to trace back somebody's history like several months ago, especially if they're looking to see like if they've had drug use or alcohol use in the last several months. They'll actually pluck a piece of hair and they'll test the hair sample to see if somebody, if somebody's like, oh, I've been sober for 3 months. Well, they'll pluck a hair sample and they'll do a hair analysis on that sample. And based on what they see, they can trace back months before and see, oh, this person was on drugs. They were, using a lot of alcohol, because that kind of stuff, it packs in the hair and it stays. So this is crazy awesome. But that's the same thing with, all the products and things that you're using. It can coat on your hair, and years and years and years of using these products can just stick in your hair and stay in your hair. And that's why we go through processes like this. It's important to remove these things because it not only causes dullness in your hair, the mineral and the product buildup can feel like your hair's really weighed down over time. So a lot of people will use products and they'll have really good results at first, and then later they'll be like, I just feel like my hair is heavy. I just feel like it doesn't shine anymore. It just lacks something. And a lot of times it's because of over time of use, you're getting that buildup. And so you have to clarify it to get it off of there. It can also block vital ingredients from the scalp and the hair shaft. And if your hair's not getting its vital ingredients, it's not getting the hydration it needs, your hair's not going to be in very good shape. So it's really important to get all of this crud off of your scalp, out of the follicles, out of the hair shaft, to start getting your hair back into a really healthy condition. And so Monat, what it does is it goes in, that's what they call procataline, and it actually pulls out the gunk from inside the follicles. So deep down inside, not even on the outside of the scalp, but inside of the follicles in the scalp, it starts pulling that gunk out, and deep inside the hair shaft as well. It starts pulling that gunk out. And so it's not an overnight process. You cannot fix something overnight if you've been using things for 20 years. If you're doing 23 years of damage, you can't just reverse that overnight. So it takes time, guys. It's going to take time. Some people take longer than others, and there's no timeline. Everybody is different. So when someone says, well, how long does that last? I don't really know. I can't really give you an answer. The best thing to say to somebody is say, well, everybody is different. I've seen it from, lasting a week or two to 6 months. I mean, I've seen market partners and customers go through this process for 6 months, guys. 6 months. And then they finally come out on the other side and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the best hair I've ever had. Thank you so much. I didn't know I was going to get through it, and I did. And they're so, so, so happy with the results that they had. It's totally worth sticking it out. And so that's why we educate you guys on this, because it's so important. And we're not just saying things to, defend like what it's causing. Like, oh, my hair feels sticky. Oh, well, it's probably this. Oh, it's not an excuse, guys. It's actual facts. Okay, I'm telling you this because it's facts and I want you to know it. So you need to be extremely confident in what you're talking about when you're talking to customers, when you're talking to your market partners. Be confident in this process because it's been tested, it's been proven. We have clinical studies to back this research up. So it's not just us just saying it and just throwing it out there because it sounds good. It's actually been proven that we go through these processes and the results that you get on the other side. It's so important. So some people are more likely to experience the transition than others, you know, if they've been using a lot of heavy styling products. So like somebody that has like a bathroom with like 8 million products and they're constantly using them all the time, especially ones with like, you know, oils and, you know, a lot of hydration, you know, a lot of those people, they're probably going to see a little bit more symptoms than other people. People that have years of use with like grocery store brands or drugstore brands, it's a cheaper quality product. And they just usually use lower or less expensive ingredients, which include, you know, more silicones, waxes, stuff like that in the products. And it feels good, guys. Like when you put that stuff on your hair, it feels good. It makes your hair soft. It makes it shiny because it's plastic. I mean, literally you're coating your hair in plastic and it's basically covering any kind of flaws or problems that you might be having. So it's a cosmetic fix, but it's not actually fixing the problem from the inside out. Let's see here. People that have a lot of minerals in the water, like I said, it can get in the water, you're taking a shower, you're washing your hair, and that stuff can deposit on your hair. So it's important to get rid of those things. There's some symptoms with this period. Some of them include itchiness. People have like an itchy scalp. I definitely had that. My mom had that. And it's just because, you know, new hair is growing. And so as new hair grows in, what it's doing is the little baby hairs are pushing through the follicles to pop the other hairs out. And, you know, it itches. It's activating old follicles that maybe be asleep. It's waking them up. They're getting a little irritated. Some people even get little red bumps. My mom did. They look like little pimple-like bumps. And it's because the follicles are irritated because that hair is wiggling its way through and it's like, hey, I'm awake, you know, let's grow. And so it's irritating the follicle, and that's why you can get little red bumps and itchiness. So that's very, very common. I definitely had that. Stickiness or tackiness, this one is really common. I definitely had this. I thought that maybe I did it wrong or something, and I was like, what is going on? Like my ends, I couldn't blow dry my hair, guys. I was blow drying it, and it just still looked like little strings of nasty. And I was like, oh my gosh, did I not wash it all out? No, it's, you know what it is? When you get the stickiness or tackiness, you have all of that plastic buildup. And this is what I relate it to, because I do furniture. I like to flip a lot of furniture. If you've ever done this before, if you've ever used a paint stripper, this is exactly what I think of. When you have that poly coat on top that seals everything in, it's basically like kind of like a silicone. It just coats it, it protects it from things, but it's very heavy. And so to get that off, you have to actually paint like a paint stripper on top of it. So you paint it on, you leave it on for a little bit, it starts bubbling up, and you take like a little scraper and you scrape it off. Now sometimes if the paint is on there really thick, and there's layers and layers, and I have been through this, it is not fun. There's layers and layers of paint on there. Sometimes you have to strip it multiple times to get it off. And the first time you do it, you're taking some of that sludge off, but not all of it comes off, and it's sticky, gooey mess, and it's disgusting, and you can't get it off. So stickiness in the hair is normal, and it will come off. But what it's doing is sometimes the shampoo, depending on how many layers you have on there, it's not strong enough to pull all that gunk off the first time, depending on how many layers you have. So what it's doing is it pulls some of it out. It starts bringing some of that, because it packs deep in the hair shaft, it starts bringing some of that out on the surface, but it's not strong enough to get it all off. So you have that gunkiness on the outside, and that's what makes it sticky. Now over time, with continued use, you're going to fully get rid of that, and you're not going to have any more stickiness. I have no more stickiness. It's amazing. Same thing with furniture. You keep doing it, you strip it off, the furniture's beautiful, it's down to raw wood again, and it's ready for fresh paint. So that's what I compare it to. Tangling. This is really common. I definitely had this. The reason people have tangling with these shampoos sometimes in the beginning is because it goes back into the pulling off of the gunk on the outside. So what it does is the stuff that's packed deep in the hair shaft, it starts pulling it off. But remember what I was saying before, it's not strong enough to pull it fully out of the hair shaft. So what it does is you have a cuticle layer that sits like this on the outside of your hair. And so as it's pulling some of that out, some of it will get stuck in the cuticle layer. So it's not actually pulling it out, but it pulls it a little bit out from the inside, and you have like a ball of gunk just sitting here. Well, if you got all these cuticle layers sticking out, they're just like, hey, and they're fanning out, they're more likely to catch and grab other hairs, and that's why you have the tangliness. But as you use it, as you get that gunk off, the cuticle's gonna lay back down, and you're not gonna have tangles anymore, I promise. It's gonna be awesome. So that's why we have tangliness. Flakiness, some people have flakiness. I had that. You feel, especially with the itchy, you feel like you get a little itchy and it like snows. Not the prettiest thing in the world. Definitely don't wear, a jacket like this if you're having that problem. But basically what that is these products boost cell growth. So as you're getting hair growing in, it boosts the growth cycle, and hair and skin are very closely correlated. And so it's basically a bunch of cells, dead cells, that are in the hair, and that's what causes it. It keeps building up these cells, and that's what creates new hair growing out. And so basically, as you're using these products and they're speeding up the cell turnover on your scalp, you're going to start shedding skin. So, and that sounds really disgusting. It's not as bad as it sounds, I promise. But as you're getting that, and as you're getting new cells developing, all that old like skin on your scalp, it's going to start flaking off. So you get this new, beautiful, healthy scalp. And that's what we want. So some of that flakiness is completely normal. It will go away and it will normalize. But that's why you have that shedding. Okay, this is huge, guys. I know a lot of you freak out about this. Do not freak out about this. This is not a big deal. And let me tell you why. If you know why it does this, you're going to feel so much better. I think a lot of people freak out because they haven't been educated, especially clients. You need to educate your clients on why these things happen, and do it beforehand. Let them know the process before they start the shampoo, after they order, so they know what to expect. The reason people have shedding is because, okay, picture this. You've got a little follicle, right? Well, over time, you have gunk that's being just stuffed in there. Okay, it's just stuffed in there like glue. Well, the hair has a growth cycle. It goes through different cycles of hair growth. And so as it does, you have a phase where it starts sprouting, then it stays, kind of stays dormant for a little bit, and then it dies, and then it sheds out. That's the different phases of hair growth. And you're going to have that. So why this happens, why is this important? You can shed up to 150 hairs per day. That's a lot, guys. I don't know if you've ever sat there and plucked out 150 hairs. It's a lot. And let me tell you, when people have little balls of hair that they brush out and they're like, oh my gosh, I have balls of hair when I brush my hair, but you know what it is? My hair is really long, okay? My hair is like way down here. So if you take one strand and you crumble it up in a little ball, it's going to be a little bit bigger. So when you have a little chunk of hair like that, not like a chunk, but if you're brushing it and you like pull it out of your brush and you're like, oh my God, you can shed 150 hairs, guys. That's a lot of hair. And if I were to pluck 150 hairs out and crumble them in a ball, it'd probably be pretty freaking big. And that's normal. So don't freak out about this. But why is this important? Well, when you're supposed to be shedding hair, it's a natural process. You grow your hair, you let it sit, and you shed it out. Hairs can't fully shed out when you have all that gunk inside. It basically acts like glue. So when your hair is starting to shed out, it acts like glue. It holds it in place. That hair is no longer active. It's no longer technically alive in the follicle. It's meant to be shed, but it can't, so it stays in. Now, as you're using Monat and it's pulling all the gunk off of the hair shaft and in the follicles, it's going to remove some of that gunk anyways, and that hair is going to come out. So that is totally normal. So in the beginning, if you've had a lot of hairs in there that have just been stuck in there that aren't supposed to be there, yeah, you were going to experience some shedding. I experienced shedding, Mom experienced shedding, but you got to think about your hair in general. Is it thinning? Do you see my hair getting thinner? No. I still shed, guys. It's a normal part of hair growth. It's going to shed. We can't keep all the hairs on our head forever. It's just not going to happen. And so it's a normal process, so do not freak out about it. But the good news is when you shed those old hairs that aren't even supposed to be there out, you're making your way for new hair. And how this works is the hair only grows as thick as the follicle. So if you have small follicles, your hair is going to be thinner. If you have bigger follicles, your hair is going to be thicker. So if you've got a bunch of crud in there, if the hair grows through, it's not going to be in diameter as thick as if you had a nice clean follicle. So if we're pulling that gunk out, you're going to open that follicle. It's going to be bigger, and you're allowing for bigger, thicker hairs to come in that are going to be anchored, that are going to stay longer, and they're going to be fuller and more beautiful and healthy, and you're actually getting the hair what it needs. So it's really important to go through that process. In fact, shedding is an amazing thing. It's awesome. It should be something that you celebrate because you know that you're going to be getting new, stronger, better hairs in. So rest assured that is completely normal. Okay, excess dryness or oiliness. So some people complain of, oh, my hair's so oily since I've been using this. Like I wash and I can't get it to, it's still oily by the next day. What's going on? Or people experience excess dryness. What's going on is your scalp is trying to balance. So when you put oils on your hair, so our products have oils in it, the Rejuvenique oil, it mimics your natural body's oils, your body's natural oils. And so what it's doing is when you're putting it on the scalp, it takes a while for your body to recognize that it's getting the hydration and the moisture and the oil that it needs. And so as it's doing that, you might still be producing a little more oil, or, you might be going through a little dryness. Your body is trying to balance itself out, and it takes time. Again, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. So in the beginning, you might feel like you have to wash a little more frequently, but you'll get where you don't have to wash as often at all. It's amazing. I wash my hair like once a week, so it's awesome. Used to, it would have to be like every 2 days, but now I don't have to do that. It's great. So that's what happens with that. But it's great because you need to give it the time that it needs to balance out so your hair can be restored and have its natural vitality. It's going to be more hydrated and just really beautiful. So it takes time. I encourage you guys to give it 90 days, at least 90 days, to start seeing results. Now, are you going to see full results in 90 days? I can't guarantee that. Everybody's different. Again, I talked to someone the other day. It took them 6 months to get through this period before they started seeing really, really amazing results with their hair. But our percentage rate of success with this is amazing. I mean, pretty much almost every single person that goes through and actually gives this time to do the full process, they see amazing results. I mean, they really, really do. A lot of people, though, they freak out, they're not educated, and they quit using the products before they actually have a chance to experience full results. And so that's why you hear rumors of, oh, this product stinks, oh, this shampoo doesn't work. It's absolutely not true. They quit before they even got their full results. And so it's important, guys, to really, really encourage them to stay on it, and then offer solutions, which I will get to, some little tips and stuff that you can tell them to kind of help speed up this process. But it's important to keep going and keep using this, and they will see amazing results. I promise you. I'm 100% confident in that fact. Okay, so if you have somebody that's coming to you that are having some symptoms of, the transitional period, some things that you might tell them is make sure they're washing properly. With Monat, you want to wash twice each time you wash. And the first time what you're doing is you're putting it on there. You're going to leave it on about 2 minutes each time. So it's kind of like going back to the furniture stripper. This is like the best analogy I could think of. So forgive me, but this is what I know. If you put the stripper on and you try to scrape it right off, it's not going to come off. You have to let the stripper stay on the piece of furniture for a while, at least 30 minutes, if not longer, for it to get a chance to loosen up some of that gunk on the outside so you can get rid of it. It's the same thing with the shampoo. You put the shampoo on, you need to let it sit for like at least 2 minutes to kind of start loosening up some of that buildup, so then you can rinse it out. This also removes excess dirt. You know, we get dust in our hair during the day, especially if you're in Dallas and you've got construction, or if you're in a dry climate where, you know, pollen and all that kind of stuff is everywhere. Our hair is like a dust trap. So you want to be able to get all those things off of there first. Excess oil, you know, all of that. You're getting that off of the first wash. The second wash, you're doing that because once all that stuff is kind of loosened up and all the extra stuff is gone, the second wash is going to really give your hair the moisture and the nutrients that it needs to start healing from the inside out. So it's really important that they are washing twice. If they wash one time, they're not necessarily going to get the full results as if they were to wash twice. So make sure that they're washing properly. Make sure they're not overusing the product. So many people overuse this product because they're not educated on how to do it. So it's our job as market partners to educate them on how to use it. Our products are extremely concentrated. Normal products are about 80% water, 20% product. Monat is about 60% product, 40% water. So it comes out really thick. So you only need on average just like maybe like a little amount like that. You're going to add some water to your hand, get a good lather, and then start washing your hair. Extremely important. If they're overusing and using too much, chances are they're not able to fully rinse it out, especially if they get like a soap fro and they're trying to rinse it out and they still have bubbles at the very end. If they go to dry their hair, they're going to feel gunky and feel gross because they didn't get all the product out. We even had a market partner who was using the product, and he was actually using way too much. He was using like a quarter size amount on his short hair, which is way too much. Older shampoos, totally fine. Monat, it's a little different. So they were using way too much. Well, what would happen was they were getting irritation on their scalp, and they just felt like it was gunky. You know, it would itch a lot, and it's because they weren't rinsing it out all the way because they couldn't. I mean, it was just too much. So little bit of shampoo and even the styling products, it goes a long way. In the beginning, what you need to do probably if they're going through a lot of this stuff is wash more frequently. If you normally wash every other day, they might start washing every other day. It doesn't hurt to wash every day with these products because we have natural oils infused in them. You're not going to dry your scalp out. You're not going to damage the hair or anything like that. In fact, it's like food for your hair. You're feeding your hair more often. You're taking really good care of it. And the faster or the more often you do that, the faster all that gunk is going to come off. So you might have to wash more frequently in the beginning. One thing that has proved to be really successful to Devern Augustus, and something that I have personally been starting to use on my customers, and this is not just anybody experiencing the transitional period, this is every customer you sign. I highly recommend doing this. Rejuvenate oil scalp treatments before they even start the products. So what they're going to do is they're going to take some Rejuvenate oil. If they don't have it, if they didn't buy it, I highly recommend giving them a sample. If you don't have a sample, you can purchase them in the back office. I highly recommend doing this. It will save you a lot of questions. It will help your clients just get faster results. It's so worth it. So I highly recommend doing this. What they're going to do is just take a little bit of the oil. They're going to massage it in to their scalp. And they're going to do this all over their scalp. If they have the full bottle of oil, they're going to take the pump, get a little bit in the vial, and they're going to separate their hair, and they're going to start putting the oil in their hair. And then they're going to massage it in. They're going to sleep in this overnight. I recommend doing it about 10 to 15 minutes before they go to sleep, so it has time to soak in a little bit, so you're not just, having a grease pot on your head and you're putting your head on your pillow. It has time to really absorb a little bit. And then what you're going to do is you're going to shampoo and, rinse this shampoo condition the very next day. So you're not going to just leave this in, you're going to actually shampoo this out. But this will help dramatically decrease the symptoms. So I highly recommend doing that with people before they even use Monat for the first time. Have them do a scalp treatment, and it will cut down a lot of the symptoms that people have. But nevertheless, if you're educating them in the beginning, if you're working with them, if you're educated yourself on this process, it's going to make you feel a lot more confident in this. And that's what you want. You want to be super confident in this, because people that don't know, that have never used these products, they're going to be like, what's going on? So, but if you're upfront with them about this process and you educate them, they're going to feel so much better about it, because they know, they were prepared for it, okay? And that way they're not associating, symptoms like this with being bad hair products, because they're not bad hair products. They're amazing hair products. I wouldn't use them every single day if I didn't think that I wouldn't use them on my clients. I sure as heck wouldn't put my reputation on the line if these were bad products, because I would not put my name behind something if I didn't fully believe in it. And I absolutely do with these. And I've seen it. I've seen amazing things with these products. I have so many happy customers. Some of you are even market partners. You tried the products, you've been using them, and you were customers of mine before, and you love it. And I have a track record with this. A lot of us that are on this team have been using them for over a year, and we continue to see amazing results. And so have faith in that. Believe in that, and just really be encouraging and let them know that, hey, this is something that's going to pass. And I promise you, if they keep using these products, they're going to have the best hair that they've ever had. So I hope that helped you guys. I don't see any comments, so I can't, if you said anything, I can't read it right now, but I will get back to you. If you have any questions on this, please let me know. I'd be happy to talk with you about this. Or if you feel like somebody is experiencing this, if any of this stuff doesn't cover it, definitely come to me, let me know. But I mean, the oil treatment itself is really, really going to help a lot of people. So that in time. But anyways, I hope that you guys have a wonderful evening. I wanted to pop on here a little bit early, just because I was feeling kind of under the weather. So I wanted to make sure that I got this in for you guys. But I hope that you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Love you. Bye.